So what I wanted to talk to you today about is the difficulty of collecting indoor-outdoor samples for comparison. Many consultants use this comparison between the environment outside the building and what are you seeing inside the building, and that comparison tells you whether or not you have an issue inside the building. It's really tough to do. It's much more difficult than what would be like common sense. So the problem is what's referred to as a diurnal cycle. Diurnal cycles are how the environment outside the building changes, and it has to do with the moisture content, say, on the trees or the grass. So right at the crack of dawn, and the sun starts to come up off the ground. So there's a large amount of dew that's going to be on the grass. And there's a variety of molds that really like that high moisture content. So as the sun comes up and that starts to dry off, those molds that are present will release their spores. So right in the beginning of dawn, maybe a half hour later, you're going to get this puff of those kind of molds. Then as the sun goes up higher and that moisture really begins to dry off the grass, there's another set of molds that are more resistant to drying out. They're going to release their spores, and that's a different set of mold than the first. And then goes into the point of like noon or high, and it's really, really dry. There's another set of molds that release their spores. And then as the day progresses later in the afternoon, and it starts to starting to cool off, there's a whole nother set of molds that come off. So my point is that different mold species produce their spores at different times of the day, and that's why they call it a diurnal cycle. It's a cycle that happens every day. So when you take comparison values between outside the building and inside the building, the outside the building is very, very dynamic, and it makes a change between whether or not you're going to collect your sample at 9 or 10 in the morning or 2 or 3 in the afternoon. And those are really unknown unless you sit down and collect those samples at 7 and at 10 and at noon and to see how those changes make that impact your interpretation of what's happening inside the building. Now the trend of the industry is you don't even collect outdoor samples because it's so variable. What you normally do now is you collect a sample inside the envelope of the structure, but in an undamaged, water damaged area of the building. So, and you use that for your background because not a lot of people raise their windows. There's not a lot of communication between outside the house and inside, and the outside is so dynamic. It's a better evaluation for background influence of a water damaged area in a non-water damaged area. So take your sample from some location, utility room, I don't know, some location that has not been damaged by water as a indication of what is your true background. All right, Bob Bennett, Farsight Management. It's better to use Farsight than hindsight.